As we look at week 2 here on this Cards Cover 2 from Monday afternoon, time right now, MJ, to go inside the NFC West. And we talked about it last week. The NFC West, not named the Arizona Cardinals, undefeated through 2 weeks.
And pretty impressive. Teams are going on the road to get wins. I mean, we talk about going to the East Coast. Now the Niners obviously got a chance to play the Bucs, and then they went to Youngstown and they got a chance to play the Bengals. So, that means they got 8 home games coming up.
Yeah, it's been impressive what the 49ers have done. Let's start with them. 2-0 as they get ready to take on the Ben Roethlisberger-less Pittsburgh Steelers. But winning at Cincinnati, not just winning, but crushing the Bengals 41-17. Jimmy Garoppolo tied his career high with 3 touchdown passes, almost threw for 300 yards. But this San Francisco offense doesn't matter about their running back situation. They just almost seem like it's a plug and play as they continue to rotate based off who's available because of injuries.
And yesterday, Matt Breida, 121 yards. And as you mentioned, close to 600 yards total offense, about 6.2 per play. Now, they did have an injury, and he's one of the better left tackles in football.
Yeah, Joe Staley suffered a broken left leg. They believe he can come back in 8 weeks, so keep an eye on whether they put him on injured reserve or just let him recover. My guess it might be an IR situation, but someone that they can bring back as long as he's recovering as well as one would think.
Now, 2 different injuries, but maybe that's encouraging maybe when Robert Alford could return. Obviously, he's rehabbing right now, and they haven't given us a time frame, but it wouldn't surprise me, regardless of the record, you get him and Patrick on the field. We're talking about a different defense down the road.
49ers 2-0 for the first time since 2012. Also at 2-0 and also coming off an impressive road victory, the Seahawks, as they won at Pittsburgh 28-26. Their first win in the Steel City in 20 years. Now, you don't play these teams all the time.
Once every 4 years.
Yes, but still, that's
twice every 8 years, home and away.
That's still,
but hey,
it's an amazing stat.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact is that Russell Wilson, I mean, his accuracy is even better than it was last year. I mean, and they're getting some production from their defense, their running game. Tyler Lockett, DJ Metcalf, everyone thought he was a one-trick pony. He's becoming a better route runner. And Pete Carroll, he seems like he's 50 years old, all that energy he has chewing that gum, but they celebrate in the locker room yesterday.
Yeah, he earned his 100th victory with Seattle, and you bring up Russell Wilson, became the 5th fastest player to reach 200 career touchdowns. He has 201 as he threw for 3 and had 300 yards through the air. So Russell Wilson, what is his 7th, 8th season?
Maybe 8th or 9th.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's been around for a long time, yet you look at him and he still looks like he's 22.
Man, he's short, but he looks kind of heavy, but obviously you could see when he posts his videos on social media.
I think it's just all that padding, especially around the waist.
It could be, but when he was walking into the stadium, I'm like, this guy, he needs to get away from the buffet table. But when he posts his stuff, you could see he's got a chef and all that. So, but it's remarkable. A 3rd-round pick.
Oh, yeah. Several teams, including Seattle, passed on him at least once.
Yeah, they were praying because they took somebody in the 2nd round. And I know the Cardinals, after maybe the first 5 games going, where do we have him ranked? What kind of scout grade do we at him? Now, obviously, played at NC State and then Wisconsin, but everyone was questioning the size. I don't think people are questioning the size anymore.
No, they're not. Seahawks now back at home as they'll host the Saints coming up this week. The other team, the Rams, we'd expect them to be 2-0, but amongst the other teams in the division, they've kind of flown under the radar, so to speak, considering the 49ers off to a hot start and then what the Seahawks have done winning on the road. But the Rams beat the Saints 27-9 in what is the final home opener at the 96-year-old Coliseum. This was the rematch of the NFC Championship game. Didn't live up to the billing. A lot of that was because of Drew Brees getting hurt for New Orleans, but Jared Goff had 238 yards and a touchdown, rushed for a score as well. And I think we're seeing a pattern with this Rams offense with regard to running back Todd Gurley. Don't use him much in the first half, but really ramp up his carries in the second half, and he was able to get a touchdown, but it's not coming until late in the ballgame.
Yeah, and that's probably the recipe to kind of preserve him, and he did get a touchdown, so fantasy owners are probably pretty happy about that. But, they really shut down Alvin Kamara. Now, again, I'm glad you brought up the fact that Drew Brees could not hold a football. But, hey, they got a backup quarter. But they really shut down Alvin Kamara. That was surprising to me because then you throw in Mike Thomas, some of their tight ends. You got to give that Rams defense now. I think they're better than last year. They've drafted some linebackers. You bring in Eric Weddle. They still got some pass rushers. Last year they got Fowler, and then they still have Brockers. So they're still the Rams, and Wade Phillips does a really good job with that defense. So it's like if they score 30 or 35 points, I think they feel good about their chances of winning.
Yeah, that defense of the Rams stopped the Saints or held the Saints without an offensive touchdown for the first time since 2016. You can put a little asterisk next to that because of the Drew Brees injury. But the Rams 2-0. They will travel to the Browns. Cleveland playing on Monday Night Football, so they'll get the Browns on a short week. But again, the Rams 2-0, the 49ers 2-0, and the Seahawks 2-0. An impressive start for the NFC West.
And the Arizona Cardinals, 2 red zone touchdowns, could be 2-0, but the record speaks. What does Parcells say? You are what your record says. So 0-1-1
until week 3.
Perfect. Hey, Panthers, they got issues. I mean, they got 10 days off, but we'll see. But Christian McCaffrey, he's a load, man. And they got some wideouts. You know, Greg Olsen, Cardinals have had trouble covering the tight end. We'll have plenty of time to break that down as we get closer to game time.
Exactly, as the game plan gets put in Wednesday, Thursday, and...
Hey Cardinals fans, hope you're enjoying this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel and tune in every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. to our unnamed fantasy football show.
Sunday's matchup with the Carolina Panthers. How about we now go a little bit deeper inside as far as a scouting reports on the Panthers. It is time for Opposing Views presented by State Farm as we take a look at this Panthers team 0-2 out of the gate, MJ, and having lost both games at home. And you fall 0-2, that's already, a large hill to climb. But losing 2 in a row at home, now having to go on the road. We talked about it earlier in the week. It's a wounded Panthers team that will be here on Sunday.
Yeah, and they were 6-2 last year, and then Newton got hurt, and then all of a sudden, they were a team that was, kind of chasing a 500 record, and that didn't work out. Now they lose to the Rams in Week 1, 30-27. So I know that the score was a little bit back and forth, and obviously the Rams had the lead to win that, and then last week 20-14. So they played toe-to-toe, so to speak, with the Rams. Obviously, the Rams, were in the driver's seat. But here, I think their offense will be the same whether Newton starts or Allen. But Christian McCaffrey is a load, okay? And then you look at DJ Moore. Chris Hogan's more of a possession receiver, a third down guy. Curtis Samuel is very fast, and he had a really good preseason, offseason. I read a lot of stuff about him, knowing where how to play them. And they do have a fullback on the roster. Now, you start looking at their offensive other weapons. You got Greg Olsen. He's dealing with the back issue, but he's going to play. And again, he's a savvy vet. Will find spots like Larry does in the defense, and you just got to make sure you put a hat on him. I'm not saying he's going to break off a 40 or 50-yard run, but it's a really efficient play for a young quarterback to throw to him. So they do have some weapons, but it really all starts with Christian McCaffrey.
Well, Week 1, McCaffrey over 200 total yards of offense, but in Week 2 against Tampa Bay, only 53. So the Buccaneers did a good job of neutralizing him. And if you do not have Cam Newton on the field, that certainly puts a lot more on McCaffrey's shoulders. Not that he is unable to handle that, but certainly he becomes, as you said, you're basically the focal point of the offense. And even if Newton is on the field, because Cam Newton hasn't been that typical Cam Newton. He has 0 touchdowns, passing or rushing this season.
Yeah, and he's not even trying to take off and run. And if he does, he's really not looking to make any yards. He's trying to look for the sideline. Wade Phillips, and then you throw in Todd Bowles. Those are really good coordinators. And Bowles, we witnessed it here, is that he'll take away your strength and try to attack your weakness. So I'm not surprised, but that's really two good coordinators that they went against on defense.
Well, and not a weak link, but a potential for the Cardinals' defense, especially the outside rushers, whether it's Chandler Jones or Terrell Suggs. Their left tackle for the Panthers, Darrell Williams, allowed 3 sacks to Tampa Bay, and there's already some questions on whether they make a change at left tackle with Greg Little, who just finally got cleared from concussion protocol, perhaps a change for the Panthers along their offensive line.
And he's a young guy.
Yes. And next fact, former teammates with Kyler Murray at Allen High School.
Yeah,
another connection in
he's
this
a rookie.
game.
So, if you're Suggs and Jones, not last week, some of the defensive tackles Corey Peters made some plays, Rodney Gunter. They kind of neutralize here. These guys should be licking their chops if you're facing a rookie. And Williams, when you give up 3 sacks and you're watching that film, you're looking for ways you can get to him. So I like our chances there to get to the quarterback. But obviously, you got to put a hat on Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he's got the best hands. I told you when I was at the Combine, there wasn't a receiver or running back. He's so fluid when he catches the ball. He's already going upfield. That's how fluid he is. And he's a small guy, and so you got to make sure you tackle him well in the open field, because if you're a linebacker, you're going to have to get down a little bit because he's very strong at the point of attack.
The matchup to watch here on Sunday, the Cardinals passing attack and the Panthers passing defense. Cardinals, the 4th best offense throwing the football, 328 yards, and the Panthers allowing just 186 yards through the air. That is 3rd best in the NFL. And, of course, you look at their secondary, Eric Reed, a veteran, Trey Boston, former Cardinal. He might be a little bit interested in what happens on Sunday coming up back at State Farm Stadium. And then, of course, Gerald McCoy right there on that defensive line. You get pressure from him, and then, of course, things become a little bit easier for your secondary.
Yeah, they got some space eaters. You look at Gerald McCoy, obviously, he signed as a free agent, and then Dontari Poe, big wide body. And then you look at K1 Short. Both of the Short's on the injury report. He's got a shoulder injury. I mean, obviously he's a guy that probably is not going to practice a lot. And then Bruce Irvin, who from the Seahawks, he didn't practice. He's got a hamstring injury. But I'll tell you what, you go back to that NFC Championship game, and one guy that shut down Larry Fitzgerald was Shaq Thompson. Now, Larry dropped 2 first downs in that game. I thought they came up with a great game plan to bracket Larry. So Shaq Thompson doesn't get the credit. Now, the guy we need to mention is Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, we go the entire talking about the defense, but you're
save
right.
the best for last.
Yes, he leads the
At least
team
that's
in
what
tackles.
I'm saying now.
Yeah, but no, and everything defensively, because he is the Jordan Hicks, the Cardinals equivalent, because he's the one calling that defense, and really is more than a coach on the field.
Yeah, when you had Thomas Davis there, just another great player, and he was very good in that game against Cardinals, even though he got hurt. But Luke Kuechly, if you ISO on him, just watch when the team, the offense breaks the huddle. Now, maybe with the air raid and the 4 wides, maybe it's not going to be as easy as it was in the past. But this guy studies so much film. He is pointing things out, and that's where we're going to see the chess match between Murray and Kuechly about, hey, are you going to bring an extra guy here, or are you going to drop another guy in coverage? So that's a fascinating matchup. But he studies so much film. He kind of knows what different offenses are doing. Now, he's probably more effective in the division where you got 6 games a year. We've played him a few times already, but he's a really good player, very instinctual and very smart when it comes to calling that defense, just like Jordan Hicks is for us.
Panthers have won the last 3 meetings between these two teams. Cardinals' most recent win in the series came back in 2013 at State Farm Stadium, and that's the last time the Panthers were here in Arizona, which they'll be coming up this Sunday. As that is Opposing Views this week, presented by State Farm.